well, maybe not all of us, but people that have a little gray and have lived long enough have known individuals or groups that have done everything imaginable under the sun, good, bad, and different, to get their way in whatever situation or environment that they live in. And sometimes, this is a good thing because everybody deserves success at what they put their mind to, the work that they do, the goals that they want to achieve. But in some rare circumstances, when these individuals or groups get what they want, they find out that they are not equipped for success. In other words, their goal of being at the top, their efforts of being at the top, perhaps succeeded to some, varying degree, but once they get to the top of whatever heap they want to be on, they realize that they are not able to maintain the heap. Now, whether this is a pile of shit or a country, the logic is the same. The characteristics are the same. And unfortunately, us in the United States, citizens, people in the middle, are experiencing this because the Republican Party, since its conception, has tried to be the one and only party in America. Some say that, they wanted to destroy democracy from day one, and others say they don't mind democracy as long as they are the only ones participating in that form of government, as long as they are the ones that control the scenario. And unfortunately, part of this has been proven true, and part of it has been proven to be a lie, because 20 days ago, Matt Gaetz managed to get probably the worst Speaker of the House kicked out by invoking the dumbass rule that that Kevin McCarthy allowed to take hold in order to obtain the speakership. Matt Gaetz pulled the pin on him, and he got voted out as the Speaker of the House. Now, this is a whole Republican thing, but the House is composed of Republicans and Democrats, and according to tradition, the Republicans have the majority in this session of Congress, so they get to name the rules. They get to name all the chairmanships of all the important committees. They get to decide what bills come to the floor, what bills get voted on. Basically, they determine, for the most part, what comes out of the House. Well, Republicans have been in charge since the election in 2022. They've been in charge for going on 2 years now, going on a year, and nothing has come out of the House. The House has ceased to function, and now they have crippled it to the point that they can't even get their own collective conference shit together in order to actually look like they are the clowns in charge again. The House has been leaderless for the last 20 days. They've nominated Scalise. Scalise pulled out because he knew that he couldn't win. Jordan tried to bullshit his way through. He never got enough votes. He needed 217. They tried every trick. They tried getting some people to answer present to lower the number of votes that were actually needed to attain the speakership. They tried bullying their own members of their own conference to make them vote for Jordan, and surprisingly, some of them developed a backbone, and Jordan failed. He fails worse in the third attempt than any other prospective nominee in the history of the Speaker of the House, in the history of the the House of Representatives has ever failed. Now, Jordan is a terrible human being. Jordan has been described, and I think I mentioned it before in other videos, as a political terrorist. In other words, he just likes lighting fires, much like Matt Gaetz, who now is his, well, they were always bosom buddies, and it's really hard to understand because these cats vote for each other and then turn around and blow up each other just because it suits their whim for the day. But the bottom line is the country is paralyzed at a time when there's a war brewing in Israel. There's a war that has been going on now for 2 years in Eastern Europe between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine is basically, it's hard to imagine Ukraine surviving against Russia. Russia has one of the largest standing armies in the world, but Ukraine has held them off and is now making inroads into Russia, but they need the help from the rest of the world. Now, NATO has been helping, but the United States was the driver behind that. The United States money was the largest money, but the United States, the Biden administration has been pushing other members of NATO to contribute their part and keep Ukraine alive. Now, the thing in Egypt, of course, the Republican right, the theocratic wing, we Christians, we support Israel all the way because that's what the Bible says to do. They want to support Israel. Biden wants to support Israel, but nobody can really support Israel because there's no Congress to approve anything. They can't do anything. There's a temporary Speaker of the House, but the only reason he's there is to hold the House together so that they get another full-fledged, fully empowered, duly elected Speaker of the House. Now, that's one thing. That's the here and now. That's the immediate crisis. And the Republican Party, even staunch Republicans, even age-old Republican icons still in politics and out of politics, are saying, we look like horses' asses. We look like we couldn't manage a kindergarten class. We look like, a bunch of cats in a bag trying to fight our way out. The thing is, that's the immediate thing. How far will the Republicans, how far will this image carry on into this year's election, off-year election? And more importantly, if they don't solve it really fast, can they get past this when it comes to the big election in 2024? It's not, Trump is, it's crazy. They look like idiots because of what's going on in Congress. They're age-old, I guess, Republican icons are saying we need to get Congress back in line and we need to back the hell away from Trump. But just a particular portion, they've been designated the Crazy Eight in Congress, the MAGA influence on the Republican Party. It is no longer really. Republicans, let's say, there is no real interest in the majority of people. Their only interest they have is in the Republican way of life. And if you can't buy into that, or if you don't fit into that, or if you have been defined as not worthy, they don't care about you. It's obvious in everything they do. They want to cut, eliminate Medicare, Medicaid, social programs like EBT and WIC, things that help people that are in need, things that help people that are financially insecure, things that help people that are too old to basically contribute to the commercial industry portion of America. They don't care if people die because they don't have enough or the proper insurance. They got theirs. They don't care if you get yours, and in fact, they do everything basically to eliminate you from getting yours so that they don't have to share the pie. Then there's other, other little, I guess, human characteristics to throw in: misogyny, racism, all the bad things that, bad characteristics. But they tend, everybody has it, but they tend to thrive in the Republican camp. Now, Republicans, numbers-wise, they're not as big as the Democrats. And actually, they don't want to be as big as the Democrats because they want to keep their core group monolithic, basically, in thinking. The Democrats have to fight with a lot of things. They have to fight with their own form of conservatism. They have to fight with their own form of extremism. They have a bigger tent, but this is what makes the Democratic Party the Democratic Party. This is what makes the Democratic Party the party of democracy. They want to cover everybody. So that creates a lot of internal fights, but for some reason, the Democrats, they've suffered for it over the years, but in the long run, when you look at the big picture, the Democrats are much better at welding things together and still allowing everybody to have a voice. Now, whether, they'll let you speak, but whether they do anything about it, that's another animal altogether. But the Republican Party is at the point now, it's like, if it's not what the people in charge want, we don't even want to hear it. We're not going to let you speak. We're not going to give it air. We're not going to give it breath. If you don't like it, you can get out. We don't care. That's what, Rhino, Republican in name only. They denigrate their own when they don't follow lockstep. And then the fact that the MAGA portion of the party, the extreme right wing, took over, the rest of the party is scared shitless. They were scared for their own political futures. Now, seemingly due to all the chaos from trying to select a new speaker, many members are scared for their physical well-being, their lives, the lives of their families, the lives of their children. And that's ridiculous when your own party, you have to worry about your own party rubbing you out just because you don't want to fall in line with the selection of the leaders, because the leaders are out of their mind because somehow they crept in and took charge, and now you don't even recognize your own party. But the important part is, as long as we are a democratic system, as long as we vote, no matter how the Republicans always cry about a fixed election, but they've been using the legal system to fix elections in their favor for years. Gerrymandering, voter registration purges, poll taxes, which were ruled illegal, but as long as they were legal, they used those. But even with all their misdeeds, even with all their corruption, even with all their planning and scheming like Pinky and the Brain, it's blown up in their faces. And it's to the point now where they realize they cannot win an election just on being Republicans. They need to get independence. They need to make a certain portion of Democrats turn. They need to suck in new voters. But with all the optical displays that they've made over the past 5 or 10 years, culminating in the chaos that they have created in Congress, they are going to catch hell, because people with half a brain, more people are trying to vote now, not just because they want to be a Democrat or a Republican, but just because they want to change something. Now you can say, well, that's how Trump got in, because everybody wanted to change. True to a certain extent, but see, Trump taught the country something. Change is necessary, but change does not mean flash. Change does not mean being the most vociferous, vulgar cat on the planet, getting sound bites and all of that, and his little minions, his MAGA elite Jordan Bogut. One time Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she's become a little bit more traditionalist, aligning with McCarthy, but in the process she's also built walls between her and the rest of the MAGA nuts. But that doesn't make her any more sane or any more palatable. The thing that is on the minds of everybody in America is, can we survive in any form? Like, a lot of people don't care about democracy. The thing with Trump, that we found that out. But just because you don't care about democracy, you don't want to sink into chaos and madness where politicians can have people executed just because of their politicians, and the people they want executed don't like them. Eventually it's going to roll around to where people in this little, upheaval backing these people are going to do something that pisses off the people in charge, and they're going to find themselves on the chopping block. It happens in every turnover like this. The Romans, everybody went this way, that way. And eventually, when people got behind the chaos regime, they eventually found themselves on the wrong end of the chopping block, and they wound up in the Colosseum right next to the Christians that they used to, cheer when they turned the lions loose on. We cannot go on like this. And it seems that these elections that are coming up, it's the only salvation we have, or the only opportunity we have to even send a message to these politicians, because politicians on both sides, the one thing that they both cherish is that seat, because it's not only a career. We can wrap it up in being, dedicated to the country. I do it for the good of the country, public servant, person of the people, serving the people of the United States. Yeah, some do, but most don't. They are there to line their pockets. Being in DC, being in the Congress, being in the Senate gives you power. It gives you insight. It gives you access to things that most people that don't even have, irregardless of wealth or religion or social standing. Politicians, congresspersons, senators, presidents, even justices on the Supreme Court, they have access to the cream of the crop, the best that the country has to offer. They have doors open for them that are not open to other people just because they sit in a certain position in the government. Now, whether people use this for their own good or use it for the good of their constituents or abuse it for their own profit, that's a varied story. Corruption has been part of American politics since the democratic system was born. But right now, it is at an all-time high. Corruption is more status quo than integrity is. Dishonesty is more accepted than the truth is. But now the people are at a point where they are tired. And I think we've gotten to the point where we are starting to understand that working outside of the system is important, but working inside the system is our only lifeline. As long as we are a democracy, and I'm personally speaking for myself, as many fallacies, as many shortcomings as democracy has, it's a whole lot better than chaos or autocratic rule. Because right now I have a little voice. It may not be the voice that, I may not have as much voice, or people like me may not have as much voice as we think we should, but it's better than having no voice at all. And we are on the edge. We're on the precipice of having no voice. And it's not even a racial thing. It is America is about to, if we let this slip away, if we don't fight the good fight, if we don't hold our ground in these next two elections. And I'm really getting tired of saying that, this is the election of our lifetime. This is the most important election that's coming. We have to get back to a point where elections are normal. Elections are just a part of the function for America to go on, instead of a point of controversy where the government or where the country seems to be on the edge of civil war. Everybody can have opinions. Political parties are there to express major opinions of people that claim certain political beliefs. But right now, it appears to be one party wants to prove that democracy doesn't work, not by bringing evidence that it doesn't work, but by breaking the system itself. Hey, it doesn't work, but you don't want to talk about the fact that you broke the damn system. You see, Americans, irregardless of our education level, irregardless of social stereotypes or whatever, I think the average citizen is smarter than what politicians on both sides gives the citizenry credit for. It's our turn to stand up. It's our turn to get both parties back in line. It's our turn to make this country work for us, and not just us working till we die for our country. Well, that's all. The Republicans, I don't know, man. If they don't straighten out, they deserve to become extinct. I don't mean like, Trump just called out for the execution. If he gets back in office, he's already said that, I may be tempted to execute my political enemies, and people actually cheered for that. This is not America. This is not in the history books, irregardless of how screwed up or what version of history you were taught. This is not what democracy is all about, and this is not America. Black, white, red, yellow, brown, whatever, Christian, Jew, Hindu, Islamic, whatever. If you're here, you came here for a certain way of life. You came here for goals and ideals that were expressed to you. These goals, these ideals were built on a platform of democracy. So why should you come and want to change everything and tear? You didn't like it where you were. Americans, you talk about freedom, you talk about patriotism, you talk about, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Democracy fails some of us, but it also tries to make a way where more can achieve something, success, through the goals that are stated. Autocratic, small government, that just means one party, one philosophy rule. If these far right, I'm not even going to say far right, if Republicans get in charge, because they cry out about, some cry out about Trump being this, Trump being that, but if Trump gets back in the White House, they're going to ride that train just like all the rest of the MAGAites. And everybody else that was confused, or everybody else that felt like, they're going to destroy themselves, I don't need to go vote. They already cooked. All you can do is sit there and blame yourself for putting yourself in a position where there is absolutely no chance for you to succeed. Absolutely no chance for you to enjoy the fruits of your own labor. Absolutely no chance for you to have a voice in what your government does, how it does it, and who it does it for. Yep, Tired of saying it, but these upcoming elections, they are the most important elections in our life. And it's time to show these crazy, far-right, conservative, extremists, white supremacists, whatever. Because they talk about the Democrats have a big tent. The Republicans have a smaller tent. But the smaller tent that the Republicans have is full of nuts. And now they have to deal with it. Unfortunately, the rest of us have to deal with the consequences. It's time to make things right. It's time to put the ship back upright, make it sail straight. And the only way we can do that without burning everything to the ground like some people want to do is straighten it out with the elections. Stop putting these. If you don't have a plan, if you can't come out and be open, if you can't tell us the truth most of the time, I would like to say all the time, but it's the world. You can't tell the truth all the time. But if you can't be honest, if you can't be somewhat near transparent on the important stuff that you know that is going to affect the largest percentage of the people in the country, then we don't need you. If you're going to be loyal to some form of religion or some form of really abstract political thinking, we don't need you. Americans, the people in the middle, the people that built this country, the people that make this country go every day because they're the ones that get up and go to work, work in these civil service jobs, work in these, build the houses, build the bridges, drive the trains, fly the planes. It's time for us to speak up. Go vote. Vote your mind. Show the Republicans that if they want to stay in existence, they got to stop thinking about themselves and start thinking about the country. And that is the impact of the madness that is on display in our Congress today. Well, that's it for me. Peace out. God bless from Uncle Ricky at Uncle Ricky's house. See you when I see you. Bye.